All right, I'm here with Abby Sterling on one of the beaches here on Little St. Simon's Island. Abby, tell us a little bit about what you do here.
Well, I started here actually as one of the sea turtle technicians. So my very first job on the island was to ride up and down the beach looking for nesting loggerheads.
And was this while you were in college, or
that
this was
after I graduated?
Okay, great.
And then I just stuck around. I didn't leave the island after that. I became a naturalist. So I did that for about 4 years. And now I just switched, and now I'm working on my master's project with nesting shorebirds here on the beach. So I'm out on the beach every day.
And you live on Little St. Simon's Island?
I do, yep.
And how many people live on this island?
There's maybe a dozen of us or so, I would say.
So a dozen people live on the island as sort of people who teach and work with the guests that come over. And about maybe, what, 30 people or overnight guests maximum?
Yep.
And 10,000 acres, right?
Yep.
7 miles of beach?
Yep. So you come out here and this is pretty much what you get.
This is unbelievable. And so, if you've never been to the beach before and you come here, this is a pretty high standard.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
Well, tell us a little bit about, okay, so you're a naturalist. Tell us a little bit about the animals that are on the island. I mean, it's a unique place.
It is, yeah. My favorite aspect, I think, is the birding. We're a really important place.
It's a globally important bird. That's an official designation. I don't know much about this, but
we're part of the Western Hemisphere Shorebird Reserve Network.
Okay.
And basically, the river that flows out to the north, the Altamaha River, this whole river delta is significant hemisphere-wide.
Okay.
So we have shorebirds that migrate from as far south as Tierra del Fuego in South America.
Wow.
All the way up to the Arctic to nest. And one of the stopover places that they use is right here on the beaches at Little St. Simon. So
if you're really into birds, this is a place where you could see a high concentration of really unique birds.
Yeah.
Wow.
At different times of the year, you've got different species, so it's fun. There's a lot that's always changing.
So name some of the cool ones. I heard the eagle as I was coming through the forest.
Yeah, we have a couple pairs of nesting bald eagles, which is nice. For shorebirds, I mean, we have long-billed curlew, which is a really exciting one. Whimbrel, that's another exciting long-distance migrant. Red knots are kind of like the poster child for long-distance migration. And so we get huge numbers of them in the fall and in the spring. Most of them are leaving now. We have a couple species that I'm working on, American oyster catchers and Wilson's plovers, which are rare birds in the state, and we have pretty high concentrations of them nesting on the beaches right now. So there's a lot going on.
So if you're into birds, this is your place.
I think so.
Okay, now, so in addition to the birds, you've got a lot of other things. And, you know, I moved to Big St. Simon's Island a few years ago. And it wasn't until we'd been there a few months that we began to hear that there are sharks in the waters, alligators at the north end of the island, and a buddy of mine who's an envenomation expert called and said he was really jealous because this is one of the last natural habitats for large eastern diamondback rattlesnakes. Is that true?
It is true. I mean, these barrier islands in general are the last refuge for some of those species like diamondbacks that are, so persecuted.
Right.
But out here, there's plenty of food, plenty of habitat, and plenty of people to admire them, I think. So we have a really healthy population.
And tell me a little bit about the alligators. Is it true there are alligators on this island?
There are alligators on this island. But I think in general, alligators are pretty unambitious. Mostly you'll see them out just sunning themselves.
So if I'm living in the city right now and I'm watching this video, I'm picturing alligators stalking into my hut and pulling me out in the middle of the night and dragging me into the swamp. But that doesn't happen? Okay. Not even once. That hasn't even happened once.
Never happened
Okay,
once.
okay, that's good to know.
Alligators, I think, are pretty laid-back animals. I mean, you could go and see one in the morning sitting out in its favorite spot and come back 6 hours later and it will not have moved. So they're fun to watch. They're out here, this is their home, but they're nothing to worry about.
Okay, that makes me feel better. So bald eagles, we covered that.
Yep.
There's a couple nesting pairs. We talked about the alligators and the eastern diamondbacks. There's sharks in these waters, is that correct?
Yep, there's a whole range of different fish species. It's a really good diversity. When you come down here and you look at the ocean, it's not crystal clear blue water, but that's because it's so nutrient rich, and that feeds all sorts of fish and shrimp and food for the shorebirds, so it's a really important habitat.
And tell us a little bit about the marshes, because they're real important from an ecological standpoint.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you've got them not only on and around Little St. Simon's, but all this whole area of southeastern Georgia has them.
Yeah, the Georgia coast has very healthy, intact marshes, which is really important. And all of these tidal creeks that flow right out to the ocean are completely tied in. Even if you look out on the beach here, you see that line? That's called what we call the rack line, and all of that is old marsh grass.
Huh.
It's washed out from the marshes down the tidal creeks into the ocean, and then at the high tides gets pushed up on the beach, and that's the foundation for the next line of dunes. So
okay.
it's really interconnected. It's pretty incredible.
And very important stuff for the animals and everything that lives off of it. Well, that's fantastic. Well, I appreciate your time, and we'll probably catch up with you here in a little bit and ask you some more questions. But thanks, Abby.
No problem.